Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Thursday, September 21st, 2023 edition of the KubeStellar Community Meeting. We are recording this meeting. If you don't want to be recorded, either audio or video, please either turn off your video or watch the playback and drop your attendance here. To join this call and to contribute to the agenda, you can use https://kubestellar.io/join us or join_us. That gets you access to recurring calendar invitations as well as access to this agenda. We do follow by a contributor code of conduct. I'll read it. As contributors and maintainers in the CNCF community and in the interest of fostering an open and welcoming community, we pledge to respect all people who contribute through reporting issues, posting feature requests, updating documentation, submitting pull requests or patches, and other activities. We are committed to making participation in the CNCF community a harassment-free experience for everyone, regardless of level of experience, gender identity, and expression, sexual orientation, disability, personal appearance, body size, race, ethnicity, age, religion, or nationality. Essentially, the bottom line is just let's everybody be nice to each other. All right, everybody. So thanks for joining. Please update the attendee list accordingly if you're on the call, if you're not. And let's see. Up first, we have decoupling of KCP. So I think, Jun, do you want to give us an update as to where you are with Kube-bind? What's the
Yes,
latest developments?
yes. I was recently working with the Kube-bind community, mainly with Effi, to get our PR merged. The PR is basically resolving the name conflicts for class scope object that is synced from a consumer to a Kube-bind provider. That PR also completes the syncing between the consumer and the provider. So that PR, so when we were working with that PR, the firms proposed that there should be a higher level framework which better handles the isolation problem, also known as the aka the security concern that raised by the current implementation. So right now, we have the client in the consumer watching and listing all the cluster scope APIs of a certain resource. But Stefan has a different view on that. He said we should do a better isolation between the consumers. He proposed several ways to do that when he reviewed that PR and asked me to follow up. So I said yes to that. So I'm going to follow up with him, continue working on that aspect.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Any other updates on decoupling of KCP? I don't see anybody representing any other facets of that project. Okay. I think decoupling progress is coming along well, and we look to, I guess, probably not within this sprint by the end of this month, but I believe by the end of October, we should be in pretty good shape here. Mike, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I mean, I can report some. Um, so there is a PR in progress right now to change the way that the workspaces are used to flatten it, because the plan for the space framework is to not have a hierarchy among spaces. So to prepare for that, we're removing our use of hierarchy amongst workspaces in KCP. So that PR is in flight now. It's just two things really. It's a change in the example usage to remove that intermediate organization amongst the WDSs, and it's a change in where the mailbox workspaces live. They're no longer children of the core space, but peers of the core space because it's all flattened. Let's see. there's, yeah, I don't know how.
That's okay. Yeah.
There's more work. I'm not sure if I'm prepared to give a good representation of it, so I'll stop there.
Okay. Okay, good. I think that's fair. I think there's good progress being made there, so I'm not concerned with the progress they're making. I think they've enumerated it well. Okay. And we'll see some of that. Maybe I'll glance over that in the triage upcoming. All right, let's get an update on containerization. I see, Mike, your hand's up,
I'm sorry. Yes, I guess I should say also there is this issue about the space objects. Right now they're namespaced with the namespace aligning or corresponding with the provider. I originally advocated this as a client-side preview of super namespaces, which would say that the space objects do not belong under namespaces, but rather over them. However, we've also been talking about maybe not using Kube-bind, in which case the natural thing to do for consumers of any functionality is to align their consumers with namespaces. And the space framework is functionality that would be logical to export and import, which would suggest that space objects should be in namespaces, but namespaces aligned with consumers rather than providers of spaces. So I think there's an open question there about which way to go, actually, or what to do. But today they're not aligned with consumers. They're aligned with, it's the other way around. They're aligned with providers.
Got it.
So the question really is analogous to the one Jun highlighted, which is how will we do access control if not by Kube-bind?
Okay. Very good. Okay. Any other comments?
That's all I can remember right now.
All right. Thank you, Mike. All right, let's get an update on containerization. So it's Helm chart. Franco, would you like to talk about anything related to the Helm chart?
Yes, so we are working on a few fronts here. One front, we're trying to decouple or separate KCP from KubeStellar pod. We would like to run the original KCP Helm chart available on their repo. We're working on it. We are facing a few issues related to the cert manager running on certain type of OpenShift clouds, and we hope to solve that soon. The next step will be to separate the various processes of KubeStellar that are currently running in one container in one pod into multiple container running into a single pod or multiple pods, so that we will gain the capability of putting their logs into separate Kubernetes logs accessible in the usual way.
Right. The boys, they appear as container logs. And I think, if I may, we might as well just be really clear and explicit about the problem that we're looking at here with cert manager uses let's encrypt, which has a limit on domain name length, which the IBM Cloud blows past. So IBM Cloud and the cert manager do not play well together. No maybe about it.
I'm trying to be a little softer.
So perhaps I can ask for clarification on potential directions. Since the plan is to move away from KCP eventually, and given this issue with the current Helm chart, would it make sense to compromise and just spin off the KCP pod in the way we are doing it right now, and just achieve the separation of the processes that way, so that we know it works on multiple clusters? Would that achieve enough production level, or would not that would not be a good idea?
Mike?
My opinion is again, just stick to the goal. The important thing is that we want the important logs to appear as container logs. I think first order answer is anything that accomplishes that will be acceptable. I don't mean to deny the other goals too, which is needs to be robust, survive the usual destruction and replacement kind of stuff. Right? You achieve so if you can do that, good enough. I will say, the cert manager is solving a problem that we have, whether we use somebody else's Helm chart or make our own. We do still need to have certs created. But if we want to create it with our own stuff in our own pod, we could do that.
So perhaps we give it a little bit more time and see if you can find a solution with cert manager would be more general.
I don't want to be overly prescriptive, right? I mean, the point here is we have certain functional goals. That's what I want to honor. And if we have some other way than using Cert Manager, fine. If we can find some other way to use Cert Manager to meet the goals, fine. That's an implementation detail that we should be flexible on.
Okay, any other items on Helm chart? As always, thank you, Franco, for your contribution. All right, under brew, I haven't had the time to look at this, so I still believe it's an issue with the WS plugin and kubeconfig and kubectl accessing kubeconfig simultaneously. It's not experienced in the wild in Bash, but it does happen in Ruby, it seems. I'm looking for other plugins to brew that might get us around this problem, but it hasn't been a priority for me, so I've slowed down in terms of researching this. I'll get back to it at some point. All right, update on one-to-one status. Mike, you want to give us, I guess this has a lot to do with Argo CD, so maybe Jun and Mike, you can talk about 772 and then how this leads into Argo CD artifacts.
Okay, so I'll start. So 772 is the feature. I've got an implementation now. I've got a PR. Well, I opened a PR a while ago with the proposed interface, and I think gotten basically no comments. I've now finished the implementation. The PR cited in the notes here combines introducing the interface and the implementation. So, we need to review.
Is this 1016?
That's the PR that combines the implementation and the interface.
Okay. Is this the one you're looking for comments on, or no? This is the PR.
Yeah, that's PR. It has, as I said, so 1008, it just adds the API. It was created a while ago to get review on the API proposal. I've gotten no comments. And of course, it's dangerous to add an API without an implementation. That's confusing. So 1016 adds the implementation and the API.
Okay. John, have you had any time to look at this?
I didn't look it yet, but I can do that during my conference, I guess. Today I'm packing up.
Yep.
It'd be hard to find time to do that.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. So look, I'm gonna assign it to you, okay? It doesn't seem like it's all that involved, but you need to be aware of what's going on so that you make sure it matches up with what you need for Argo CD when you return.
Okay.
And I'll also put you on this one as well. This way it's clear. Okay. Mike, anything else on one-to-one?
No.
All right. Let's get while we're here. So I know, John, you're packing up, so I don't want to take a lot of your time, but we got you on 1008, 1016, 772 is there, and where's the Argo CD? Of course, I can't find it now. Am I in the wrong sprint? Oh, okay. I don't know what I did with the Argo CD issue. All right, I guess maybe we'll get it when we walk through it. So, John, after 772 is completed, and of course that pens 1008 and 1016, the implementations. What can you comment at all on how, if you feel confident and you'll be able to do what you need to do on Argo CD?
Yeah, first I'm going to come up with some short demo using the latest code,
Okay.
and then maybe some recording and draw a diagram of the proposed architecture and present that to Argo Focus.
Okay. All right, so we got reference architecture tutorial. So that tutorial, I guess, will include the demo. And okay, good. Excellent. All right,
Yeah.
so you don't see any blockers if 772 is implemented via 1008 and 1016?
No, I didn't see any blockers.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, let's get back to community meeting. Here we go. All right, so we got PR.
Can I add one thing?
Yep.
On in 772, you will see Ezra has disputed the basic idea of what
Yes.
we're doing here.
Yes.
So
And what is your thoughts around that?
I disagree. I think there's virtue in what we're talking about, but if you're looking for things to discuss, I mean that's I don't.
Yeah, I don't have Ezra here. That's the only issue.
Yeah.
Let's go over and take a look at it. That's a good point, Mike. Let's take that time. All right. All right. So really, to recap for the audience watching at home, what's taking place here is we have the ability to do edge placement does summarization at this point and takes on more than one status for one particular edge placement object. In the 772, what we're proposing is that we allow one-to-one mapping between edge placement object and its status, so that there's no summarization necessarily. I'm sure, Mike, you could do a much better job at talking about what this exactly means, but why don't you go ahead and take a stab at what 772 means to everybody else?
Right. So so our multi-cluster configuration management here is designed in general for a one-to-many correspondence between a workload description object in a workload description space, and it can be multicast to many workload execution clusters. But there's a common use case in which the user knows that the intended number of executing copies is exactly one. We have an aspiration for a summarization feature that is meaningful for a general number of workload execution clusters. But 772 is about recognizing that when the use case says there's exactly one workload execution cluster for a given workload description object, it makes sense to return the reported state into the workload description object in the workload description space. And the distinction is that in Kubernetes, objects do have this typically status section that is designed to represent the reported state from one executing copy. And so if you're in a use case where you know there is exactly one executing copy, it makes sense to return the reported state all the way to there, rather than having to go through the general summarization feature, which works with the general number of executing copies. So the proposal here is to recognize that special case. And Ezra was saying, well, that's not the general case. And I'm saying, well, yeah, right. We know it's not the general case. The point is there's enough usage and interest in this special case that we should have special support for it.
So what Ezra's saying is, I think we are a special case. The whole purpose of KS is to transparently do configuration management over multiple workload execution clusters. We can dictate the user that for KS, you deploy an object X and you get the status in a different object as a vector or outcome of summarization operation. I think we will get many cases in which, as time goes on, N will increase from 1 to a larger but still very small number, especially when WECs are scarce. It will be a pity if users that just add another WEC suddenly need to change their code that process their statuses, as
Right,
it now
and that's
perhaps
not his
is.
first comment, right? So I
Yeah.
would not dive in with his second comment. I just tried to summarize, right? But his point is that
Where's his first comment, Mike? Oh, there it is. Okay. I think we need. Okay. Go ahead, Mike.
so Andy, I don't think since he's not here, I don't think it makes sense to really get into it. I'll
Mhm.
just, ask if anybody else has an opinion. If they don't want to speak now, look at it later. That's all I
Well, I
can
think
say.
my opinion is and has been maintained is that if we don't work with external CNCF projects that require one, depend upon a status mapping of 1-to-1, then we can't follow through and make true on that promise that you can use your existing estate of CNCF projects and solutions with KubeStellar, right? So
Well, my view
point
is
case that was Argo CD. Mhm.
we never promised that you could use the existing estate for reported state when you have a general number of executing copies because there's a conceptual mismatch. The whole point here is to recognize that there is a significant number of use cases where the number of executing copies is known to be exactly one. So it does make sense to do that, and we can make a bigger promise.
Mm, So I'll take your premise on here. No, it was always the intent of KubeStellar, at least in my mind, as it was forged, is that we would work seamlessly with the existing estate. So we made up the ability to do configuration grouping and summarization of status was something we took on to combat scale. But we don't have other uh, projects yet that know how to follow that summarized status or use that config grouping, right? So we're the minority here. The majority is of other projects want 1-to-1 status. So I challenge that. I think we're a party of one at this point until we implement 772.
Well, the way I see it really is it's about use cases. Um, if you want multicast, that is inherently inconsistent with anything that's expecting to consume reported state from exactly one running copy. Because when you've got multicast, you don't have exactly one running copy. So there's an inherent mismatch between things that expect one use case, and people that have a different use case. So I'm saying, my view is focusing on the use case. So when we are in a use case where it is 1-to-1, not general multicast, okay, then we can integrate with things that expect one executing copy. When we have a use case that is multicast, then everything that expects one running copy is already inconsistent. Nothing we can do about that. We can't do any implementation to fix that. That's other people's problems.
Right, Mike. So Mike, I guess I can put your feet to the fire here and say, well, what is the use case that is non 1-to-1 at this point? Do you know of one?
Well, that's every edge computing scenario where you want, right?
Scenario, yes. Use case, no. We don't have a use case yet.
I don't know what you mean by have a use case. I mean, are you denying that edge computing is a thing?
No, I'm not denying that, but I'm also I'm denying you that there's nobody doing this type of summarization that we're doing at this point in time. and we're asking for it. I think we have to do what's default, which is 1-to-1 first. That's all I'm saying. I don't deny you that it should be. It should be a use case. It should be something that people implement it in that fashion, but I don't know of any that do at this point.
Okay, so it
That's
sounds
where
like
I'm
maybe
going.
we're agreeing because I have implemented this 1-to-1 before the summarization. So I guess I'll say we're agreeing, okay?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there's a ordering. When it's a non 1-to-1, when it's really strict multicast, okay, you can't, with full fidelity in general, return the reported state into the design that is designed for one executing copies. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
pounding a round peg into a square hole. That's not
Mm-hmm.
going to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something we aspire to work on. So what we're doing here is this special case first.
Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Good discussion. Tied to this, did this complete start interface for 567?
No,
No?
that's the API proposal for the
Okay.
summarization.
All right. Oh, this is the summarization. Okay, got it. Okay, very good. All right, let's continue on the agenda. So those are assigned. Jun, thank you for taking the extra time while you're away to take a look at those. I appreciate it. You've got you want to show us one of the t-shirts? Do you have one handy to show us, Jun?
Yes. Let me get one.
Awesome. I got to see this thing on somebody, or at least see it. Period. All right. While you're grabbing that,
Yeah, I have one here.
okay, perfect.
Yeah,
All
here
right, here
my
we go.
okay.
Is the
Look at,
unboxing? Go ahead, John.
can you look at this? Can you see
We can
this?
see you.
Okay, cool. So this is the M1.
Nice.
I'm going to wear this one for myself.
Can you take
And
it out?
yeah, and I'm going to have others back with me trying to advertise our project to other attendees.
Woohoo! I
Yes.
love it. Great job. All right, our first wares. This is fantastic.
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we'll have for those of you that are attending or would like to attend. So I've asked John to use these shirts sparingly. He's only got a handful of them, and I've asked him to use them as currency. So in exchange for some major promotion of our project to help us along the lines of getting to CNCF Sandbox. So I'm looking forward to your report when you come back.
Okay.
Thanks, John. All right. In terms of let's see, I'll share back. Oh yeah, I'm still sharing. Okay. So in terms of North America, I've been asked to provide some abstracts as to what we might do in the booth that we have for IBM Research. And I've also been asked if we could do a coding exercise, to which I responded no. But I did say it would be cool to do a quick start exercise where we could run people through installing KubeStellar on their own laptops. So just stay tuned. No, nothing locked in just yet for that. And for European Union, waiting for the RFP to open. And another side note, not on KubeCon. Let me see if I can get this reverse tab there. Okay, so oh yeah, no, this is actually KubeCon. Let me put that in there. So I'm also been invited to speak at the IoT WG Edge opening remarks session about the paper that we did for Edge native applications in collaboration with the folks from Cisco. Looks like the folks from Cisco can't attend, so I might be the only presenter for that. So that would be pretty cool. So that's a pretty cool opportunity. More to come with that. All right. Anybody else with any comments or questions about KubeCon and our participation? Okay. All right. We're at half past. I'm gonna switch our attention over. Oh, without one more thing I wanted to mention. A new blog post has been entered. Thanks, Braulio, for posting this. I've already saved it away to our channel in the Medium blog posting. This is from another collaborator, Pankaj Tharat, and this is discussing the advantages of using KubeStellar. Is there anything you'd like to say, Braulio, about the article or what it's designed to do, or who it helps?
Sure. So, in this article, so we actually explain how you can use the KubeStellar to deploy an hub and spoke application that is now a very common paradigm that has been used in edge computing, and we show some of the potentials of using how you can use KubeStellar to deploy this kind of workloads, and some discussion of potential issues that KubeStellar can help per se.
Okay. Thank you very much. Great job there. I know it took a number of weeks to get that content approved and agreed upon, so fantastic work. Just wanted to
Thank you.
I did go ahead and post it. We've gotten some karma out of it already. So let's see what we got for insights. Looks like this is platform engineering. The one I'm always interested in is seeing. Okay, good. So I just posted this about 2 hours ago. So we're working our way up the ladder there in terms of insights. So this is a reflection back on what Reddit is reading our article and paying attention. I also wanted to point out really quickly, I've started a campaign to help us improve our stars and our forks. And so far, we were at 33 forks about 24 hours ago. We're now at 35. We were at 85 stars 24 hours ago. We're now at 120 or 119. So the campaign is working. This is all in an effort to get us more recognized out in the open source project space, in the Kubernetes project space, and also in the CNCF. And this is all going towards CNCF sandboxing. So I'll update you along the way as to how that's going, but the general gist of it is we're on the uptick, which is great. Any questions about KubeCon, CNCF, our STAR program, or any of the or the WG IoT Edge, or the blog posting? Any questions or comments so far? Okay. All right, so I was looking at our velocity in the queue, and we do run about, and I know this has nothing to do with the size and the effort behind the specific issues, but we do on average look at about anywhere from 30 to 35 issues closure. We're up at about 30 now. We've got about a week or week and a half to go in September. So we're on track to beat our average, which is fantastic. I know, again, that has nothing to do with size or effort. So, but we'll get into more metrics on that in the future as more sprints close. Today, I think we've got some updates. We'll go through here fairly quickly. I'm not going to cover anything in the MCC. This is MCAD related, so nothing to report on here today. In KCP decoupling, though, we did have some more work that being completed. Work that Jun was doing. I believe, Jun, your Kube-bind work is, as you've reported, is done, but you'll be away for a bit. So when you come back, that'll be factored into the KCP decoupling effort. Thank you very much for working through that. I had a question for you in terms of automating the authorization for. How far did you get with that? I didn't get a sense of that. I know the update on that one yet.
That thing is usable state. But we haven't think about contributing it to upstream because Snapper may not like that.
Yeah. Understood. Okay. Good. Okay, so then at least we're working on we have something that's usable. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So in the overall KCP decoupling, the report that I can give at this point is The majority, there's a few items left for the remainder of this month, and of course some bug squashing and some other last minute architectural changes. The lion's share of the work will be done in sprint 5. So we take this to the end of September. October 1st is when sprint 5 starts. Sprint 5 will then take us through to the end of October, 1st of November. On the 1st of November, we should be in pretty decent shape, be able to show a demonstration of KubeStellar working without KCP dependencies. So that's fantastic. I think we're on schedule there. So I applaud the team and their efforts. Great job. All right. Let's see if who we want to talk about. So Mike, I dropped a note in our Slack channel, KubeStellar Dev, to the folks at OpenZD. I didn't receive a response yet, I don't think. So just something we can follow up on to see if they're going to continue progress or if we should put this in the backlog.
Yes.
All right. We already talked about 772, 1008 and 1016. Good. Anything that you'd like to comment on here, Braulio, with experimentation with MCAD? Have we made any good progress with the plugin? Are we looking at, is it more consistent now than it's been in the past?
Yes, so we have so now the plugin is stable. So now we have finished hardening that with the Yark just finished updating the status, the MCAD status that the plugin is collecting. So it's now more stable, more hardening, and we'll be updating our production environment and the environment with the latest of plugin. But now it's more stable and it's more hardening. And
Okay,
now
good.
we are collecting the new requirements to make sure to identify if there are any more potential gaps.
Okay, good. Yeah, and there's a few of those listed in this MCC column. We didn't get around to them today, but discussions like health dashboard for KubeStellar, shared inventory, documenting troubleshooting steps, generating metrics to support our troubleshooting, discussions about using the KCP Helm chart. So I think we already discussed some those items on the Helm chart. So all good, making good progress here. Thank you for the update. Thank you. Okay, so bouncing a bit, we're going left to right, right to left here. So I'll go over to review test requested, just as time's permitting here. So resilient bilateral reconnection. So Kevin, you want to give us an update as to where you are on that one for the public?
Sure. I've had adventures there because I had a nice, powerful Windows development system. I could build a machine, a VM in using WSL. And then it turned out I couldn't actually expose it to the external network. So I am starting over using a pair of Raspberry Pis, which can have unique host names so that I can actually test this for real. And I'm chasing my tail a little bit through our installation instructions and making notes. And I've opened an issue on that. So as I find things, I can point them out.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. How are things while we're on it? How are things going with the European Space Agency? Do we have that in progress?
So I've been in conversation with Jonas, who is the IBM researcher who is actually dealing with ESA. So let's be clear that I'm one step away from the space agency. And we are sorting out some architecture terminology, it turns out. So we have been going back and forth about how KubeStellar could be applied. And along the way, found out we weren't talking about the same things. So
Okay.
that's actually part of what's driving this experiment, because I want to have some answers before I go back to it.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. We have a new member on the call, Nick Maslick. Thank you for joining the team, Nick. Nick, I've asked you to take a look a little closer at PR 912. This is a PR that I had created and worked on in collaboration with Mike, reviewing and giving guidance. So the thought is that today our kubectl plugins are bash based, and we'd like to convert them to Go using the Go client or client Go, and we would like to have, this is the first of probably about 7, maybe 8, I think, either subcommands that are listed for our current kubectl plugin for KubeStellar. And so we'd like to talk, well, not only this specific one about, this is one of the leaf nodes, right? Getting logs, but there's also the potential to talk about the parents for the parent and its conversion. So this might be an effort that you can get involved with if it's something that you see, of interest. Let us know. But either way, your review of this work is, I'd like to have it if you're able to give it. All right. 918. So brew formulas. So I haven't had any time to look into this, as I mentioned earlier, so we'll move back in the other direction. All right. So that covers review and test. Let's see, in progress. Okay, so 414 is related to 912, so that's underway. I think we've already talked about KubeCon China in North America. We just talked about 520 for ESA. And we've talked about 521 is forthcoming after 520, of course, and support deployment into, okay, so this is 859. This has to do with Helm charts and distributing and using multiple pods to represent, well, a pod per process. So that's underway. This is our community meeting. Okay, version coordination between the sync or container image and the default reference to it. Okay, we have some to-dos in here. All right, that is 908. That's reference to the PR. Support the other containerized workload resources. Mike, any comments you want to make on 522 here?
That's partly done. The thing that's missing is the ones that are cluster scoped rather than namespace scoped. That's waiting on resolutions around Kube-bind and what we're doing about that stuff. So
All right.
that's waiting for further progress.
Should we put this off to Sprint 5 since it's
Yes.
Kube-bind dependent?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe even Sprint 6?
I would put it one step at a time. I don't know.
All right, that's fine. I'll do that. All right, thank you. All right, this is in progress. Well, yeah, in progress. All right, version coordinates, syncer container image. Okay, so Mike, you want to, do we want to talk anything related to this issue? I don't think I know. I think I have to review this again, refresh my memory here. Syncer plugin does not have a usable default value for the syncer image reference. Prep for syncer plugin is meaningful default currently. Previous release, which is not great. Okay. Take care of this in the process of creating a release, preparing release. XYZ and the branch contain. Okay. So is this a matter of updating our documentation to simply care for this
No.
proposed solution?
Now this is a matter of changing our practice, and I've been taking steps towards this. So the build of the syncer image now is reproducible in the sense that the image digest depends only on the code and other functional stuff going into it, and that's part of it. The other shoe to drop here, I think, is to couple or to make part of the building process editing the script that holds the default image reference to make sure that it or editing it so that the default is to reference the image just built, or in CI perhaps to have a check that the default value is to reference the latest image. So one way or another, do something to make it so that the way the prep for syncer script references the image is coupled to the build of the latest content going into the image.
I see. Okay, so I think I heard last time we talked about this, there was discussion that Go Releaser might be able to help us with this.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take, I have it on my list of things to do to learn.
Okay.
So I'm gonna maybe I can get a time this weekend to look into it.
Okay.
I'll put it on my list.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for clearing that up. All right, on hold. All right, so no, I'm not going to go there. All right, so let's see, what else do we have here? Okay, we have a whole bunch of items. We have some items queued up for architecture discussion. Those are not for this meeting. Maintain one master list is for, okay, this is still underway. Okay, those are on hold. Okay, under new, we have a whole host of items. So let's bear in mind that we have 10 days to go in the sprint. Anything that comes in that's new, well, that hasn't been assigned, then I put it in the new column so that we can determine whether it belongs in the sprint or it belongs elsewhere. So let's do a little lightning round here and see what we want to do with each one of these and if they have a place in this sprint or not. Okay, sync end-to-end test does not work on a Mac. Okay, the script, which was this? Okay, so I see Jan is on. Is there anything here you want? Let's this the bootstrap though.
The Mac.
Yeah, Jana, have you had a chance to look at any of this?
Yana, are you on mute?
No, he seems to be on. Jana, we can't hear you if you're talking. All right. Get latest version. Get latest.
So, Andy, what happened
Yeah.
here was I opened a kind of sprawling issue that touched on several things that you put off to later. And then I opened another issue that I think should not be put off, which I think in this sprint we should fix the fact that the end-to-end test for the syncer can't be run by people who are using a Mac. And I think that should not be put off.
Yeah. Is that this one here?
Well, that's part of this one. That's the issue. Okay, there's more in this issue that could be addressed later. But one way or another, I think this sprint we should restore the ability or establish the ability of people using a Mac to do the end-to-end test for the syncer.
Okay. Jana, are you back yet?
Can you hear my voice?
Yeah.
Oh.
Now we can.
Okay.
All right.
I will
Have
check
you
the
had an
report.
opportunity to look at this ticket?
Yeah. And Mike, could you send me the details about the error?
Sure.
Okay.
If I can make a quick comment, I think this was fixed in the Bootstrap. Maybe it was not picked up here because there was a fix in the arch detection function in the Bootstrap.
Problem is, I don't know if anybody else realizes it, right? Originally, Franco, you wrote 3 scripts that are in Bootstrap, and I thought we stopped using 2 of them, but no, we're still using one of them. The end-to-end test for the syncer uses one of the other 2 scripts, and that did not get fixed along with the Bootstrap script.
So do you want me to go and fix it? This is what 7.971.
That would get the end-to-end test for the syncer working.
Okay, I'm gonna go and figure out what the exact issue is and fix it today.
It's easy. You already fixed it in the Bootstrap script. Just do the same fix in the other script that's still being used.
Okay.
All right. So are we waving off Jana at this point? If Franco can address this?
That would do it, yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost track of some of these issues during the vacation, so I kind of missed out on this.
It's nothing to apologize about. We're happy you took the break. Okay, so Jana, you're off the hook. Franco's going to take a look. I put it in sprint 4 in progress. Thank you very much, Franco. All right, let's get back to our project. So 979 no longer in new. Let's put this in progress. All right, so Mike, let me be clear. So if 971 is cared for, is 979 closed?
I think so, yes. But I think
All right.
the point is, the thing is, I raised multiple issues in 971. Franco is not promising to deal with all of it, but he is
Okay.
promising to deal with enough to get 979 closed.
I see. Okay, so then let's add him here then instead. All right.
To be clear, Mike, the script in being culprit is the KCP install, right? The install KCP.
I don't remember.
Okay. Is it spelled out in 971?
I don't remember.
Okay.
But if you look at the end-to-end test for the sinker, you'll see it invoked.
Okay. Oh, this was the Go releaser bit. Yeah. So is
Well,
this
Andy,
related?
I
Yeah.
don't want to start by jumping to Go releaser, right?
Yeah.
Right. The problem is documentation. And no matter what tool we use, we still need the documentation.
Yeah. Right. Well, this one's related to the other one. All right. Namespace is not deleted on execution cluster when deleted in a space. So this was opened by Ronan. All right, Mike, advise us. Where do you want to go with this?
Right. So this one, he's just noticed something that I think is documented, and it is a feature of the design. That it's an interesting design question. You know, we're talking here about this multi-cluster configuration management, right? It's a way of managing what's going on in these workload execution clusters, but it's not the only thing managing what's going on in the workload execution clusters. And the question is, who's responsible for a namespace existing in one of those clusters? A namespace. And the problem is, nothing keeps track of all the reasons that a namespace might be there.
Right.
And so when this MCCM feature is one reason why a namespace might be there, but it's not necessarily the only reason.
Right. Right. So if deleting a mailbox shouldn't necessarily trigger a deletion of a namespace.
Right, necessarily. The problem is we don't know. There's no defined way to know. So currently, our code will create namespaces but not delete them. And that's what Ronan noticed. And indeed, because I don't know a way that our code can determine whether it is the only reason that that namespace existed.
All right. How would we determine if our if KubeStellar is if the reason for the namespace
The only reason.
Yeah. Is because a mailbox is managing.
Well, mailbox is not the important point. The important point is the user of KubeStellar requesting something.
Right. All right. Let's see what Ron has to say about this. I don't know if he has any ideas about this, but I think we have to have a back and forth conversation in order to get to the bottom of it.
Sure.
All right, 896, 939. Meta.manage fields and downsynced objects in WEC. Okay. Okay. Any new updates on this, Mike? Should this go? Should this stay in?
Help me swap this in. Let me read this here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay. Let me think about this. So there's a Kubernetes bug. I've opened an issue upstream. Last time I checked, no one's done anything about it. And we're currently not relying on this bug being fixed because it's not fixed. But if it were fixed, it would enable some good functionality. So this is at this point a tracking thing. So that's where it's at.
That's fine. So I can what I can do is I can put this in.
You can put it on hold. We can't do anything until it's fixed
Yeah, I'll
upstream.
put it on hold, and I'm gonna throw it in the next sprint because it doesn't belong here. Can we? It won't be fixed in the next 10 days, I'm sure. What? Can you get me the issue number in here?
Yeah, and I'm not sure I'm recalling this right. I'll review this thing offline.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, you're not going to see it in sprint 4, so it's in sprint 5 now. All right. But if you have the issue number, then you don't need to worry about that. All right. The extended example. This doc has 2 alternate paths for how to deploy, right? Either has bare process or a workload. First path, words about how to get KCP, and the second path, no words at all. First path, the pointer given for KCP is not good. It does not point to instructions for what the user needs to do. A better pointer would be the beginning of the quick start for KCP. It is important to remember that not every user is one who installed the central components. We must not suppose the way to get what a user needs is part of deploying. 9866.1 and 2.3 is part of a larger issue, clearly separating the role of platform deployer from general user. Yeah. Okay. So I think if you, yeah, go ahead.
I'm thinking we should open a separate issue
Yeah,
for
I
that
think
that third point
Yeah.
and close this one.
Yeah. So is this just addressing the idea that there's a user and a contributor, or a user and a developer?
No, the point is there's 2 categories of user, or in general, right? In general, when you've got a team using this, only one member of the team deploys the platform, but they're all using it. So right now we kind of smush it together and assume there's only one user of any given deployment, and that's just not true.
All right, Mike. I'll leave it with you if you want to describe what it is you want in a new issue, or we can open one here. Would you like to open a new one here?
This is
Oh,
exactly what I'm going through right now with the pies.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
So I just opened an issue. You can find that one, and then we can.
Can you give me the issue number?
I'll follow up offline. We're out of time.
Yeah.
All right. I'll put it in here. Simple. Issue number. Describe this concern. Okay, cool. All right, so that'll about do it for today's meeting. We got pretty far. We've got some other ones that we have to, but we got pretty far through the list. Looking good. So any other comments or questions before I close the meeting? Okay, thank you everybody for joining, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you.